Revelation is a ritual, an interview series where vulnerability, embodiment, and intuition guide the conversation. Each episode invites guests to share their lived wisdom and creative expression, reminding us that revelation is not a destination, but an unfolding ritual. Through this process, guests explore newfound insights alchemized into embodied wisdom, cultivating deeper connection within themselves and more authentic relationships with others. Today we have Kamryn. She is a tea ceremony facilitator, and I'm so excited to have her on this series because I have sat with Kamryn with one-to-ones and with group sets, and it has just been such a blossoming within my internal space, like my mind, my heart, and just having a space to also verbally just lay things out there, even if my body is shaking. And it's like, it just feels so freeing, especially like sitting with you, because it just feels like this soft caress, like literally the tea is moving through you, because you always say like tea is like a mother, she like holds you. And I really feel like your essence, your energy is very much similar. So I always feel like I'm kind of like coming home like to you, but like it's also coming home to myself every time that I'm with you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. That's like the best intro ever.
I'm glad.
That's so sweet. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Tell us a little bit about how tea ceremony came into your life, how you became like decided to facilitate it, and then how did you learn? Where did you learn the tea setup, the sourcing of the tea, all of that? Share a little bit about
Yeah.
what all of that is, that whole world.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like my story with tea like spans back, which I think also reminds me of like a different like outlook that I have on life now that I've kind of gotten into tea, which I can talk about later. But me getting into tea really feels like me like reconnecting with like a really deep true nature of myself. And looking back, like I have always felt really drawn to tea. I've always felt really drawn to Eastern thought and Eastern religion, and tea and Zen they kind of like arose together. So I was like looking back, I can always see these times where I was like really gravitated toward just these alternate ways of living that in this society we don't do those things. We don't live slowly, we don't live very intentionally, we don't take time to be with ourselves or be with nature as often as we really could. And looking back, like I've always kind of been drawn to those things. If I like condense it so that it's not like I'm sitting here for hours talking about how much I love tea. When I first moved to Vegas, I was introduced to Chinese tea ceremony. It's a slightly different serving method than what I do now. It's called gong fu, which is really it's the most refined way of serving tea. And so there's slightly different teaware, and the cups are smaller, and the teapots are smaller. But that's really what got me into like the world of Chinese tea, because Chinese tea is very different than like what us Westerners would describe as tea, which is like I'm gonna put this in a mug and wait 10 minutes. Like Chinese tea, you're constantly like you're constantly pouring more and more water over the leaves, and they're constantly like the liquor is constantly changing. So it is different from our view of tea in that way. How I got into this specific serving style was I think it was like on Pinterest or something, and I saw this book that said tea medicine, and I was like, "Ooh, that looks like aesthetic." Like, like very much got into it because I thought that the book looked cool. Somebody bought it for me for my birthday, and I started reading it, and it like blew my mind. I was like, "Oh my god!" And it was all about how tea is not just a beverage, and it's not just like a fun pastime. It's actually a medicine that has been used by the indigenous tribes of China and that surrounding area for thousands of years. Tea has been around for like 15,000 years. And some of the oldest tea trees are still alive. They're still here producing tea, are I think almost like over 3,000 years old, still producing tea. Um, and so I kind of dove into this book, started to learn more about the philosophical side and the spiritual side of tea, which prompted me to kind of reorient myself to this method of serving because I felt really drawn to it.
So what is this type of
This is
serving?
called side handle. This is a side handle teapot, so they would just call this like this is you're serving in a side handle
Okay.
style. The lineage that I study in doesn't have a name other than it's from Global Tea Hut, and then my teacher is Wuda, is how you say his name. Um, so I've taken several of their courses online and have learned this serving style. But he learned it from his teacher and his teacher before him, and it's a whole line of
Mm-hmm.
people. Um, but they have many different like satellite locations. Some of them are in just outside of LA, and some in LA as well. But I once I figured out where they were and kind of found the closest one, I went and I sat in silent tea ceremony, which before then it was gong fu, so it was like the small cups. It was um, we were talking. There was just a lot of things happening, and that was the first time that I had ever experienced like a silent ceremony, and it just
Mm.
like completely opened my eyes to this different way of this practice and of this medicine. And that was maybe just over 2 years ago, and I've just deepened since then. Really fallen in love with this practice.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. It doesn't even feel like, because when you say 2 years, it's like very much in like more infancy stages of like when
Hmm.
we're diving into something. But the way that you serve, the way that your energy is and you ground, the way that you welcome us into ceremony and then close it out, it just feels like you've been doing it for many, many more years than just 2 years.
I do feel like there's a part of my practice that is like a remembering of how I
Hmm.
have, you know, done things before in life or maybe past lives, and it just feels more like this is my truest nature to serve and offer in this way. And I also sit myself every day, so there's lots of practice that is done.
Hmm.
And I believe that with any devotional practice, it really requires your full undivided attention for you to truly be able to serve in the way that is very valuable and impactful to others around you.
Yeah, I totally can resonate with that. And I've sat or been in certain instances or experiences where it felt as if they still needed to learn more. Because
Hmm.
like just the way that they say things, not just in tea, just anything in life, but
Hmm.
like the way that they communicate things or the way that they can like come into a deeper layer or a deeper connection. You can tell when someone has really sat with it a longer period of time and really
Hmm.
understood it and observed it versus someone that's still like finding the words for it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's suddenly a dog. They're like, "Wait, where'd that dog come from?"
So weaving in all of the interconnectedness of how tea moves through you, how just in general, like the spirituality of it, and it really opened up the doors for you, like an
Hmm.
awakening of more spirituality through it. Can you walk us through your outlook on how spirituality is for you, possibly how it looked like before tea,
Hmm.
that tea medicine book, and then how it started kind of shifting and navigating and transcending afterwards?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I grew up very Christian. I grew up like in a very religious household. So to me, um, spirituality didn't even exist. It was just God, and God was just like this man in the sky who lived in heaven sometimes and like would give punishments sometimes. Like it just was like this really vague but like controlling force. As I've kind of gotten into tea and into Zen, because they like I said, they really do just like come together. They rose at the same time. Like, tea is nature. We are nature. And when I think of spirituality, when I think of spirit, it's I am that thing. It's not outside of me. It's not somewhere that I need to go look. I don't have to find it. I don't have to seek it. In fact, the looking and the seeking is what keeps me from the realization that it's already here. I have everything that I need. When I look back at my relationship with tea over the years, I mean, like you said, it's been 2 years, which seems like not that long. But when I look back, I feel like tea has been with me since day one because to me, tea and nature are synonymous. And tea and nature and me are synonymous. We are all the same thing. We are all
Mhm.
made of the same elements, the same materials. I just got organized as a human and tea got organized as a tea leaf. But we're all the same. Like it all comes from the same place.
Yeah.
I came out of the void and my consciousness is here. And one day I will die and I'll go back into the void and I don't know, maybe I'll be a leaf, maybe I'll be the wind, maybe I'll be the earth, I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's tea has really helped me to see that like I am no different than these leaves. I'm also no different than you. I can imagine myself staring out of your own eyes at me, just as I am staring out of my own eyes at you.
Mhm.
And it's this beautiful I feel like I'm gonna say interconnected like 3 million times, but that's really what it is. It's like this beautiful connection of all these different like threads that create this beautiful tapestry of life that depend on one another to exist.
Mhm.
I guess now when I think of spirituality, I just think of life because that's what it is to me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I love the way that you described it because I'm such a visual person. So I loved like putting myself into that visualization throughout everything that you said because it really is, we really are one. We really are like, like we
Mhm.
are living all these different things all at once as well. And we don't know what is next. We might be a worm, we might be a plant or something that
Yeah.
someone died and we come back as another plant. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many things, but
Yeah.
it's like how are we seeing ourselves? How are we honoring ourselves? How we're honoring all of the objects is all about intention and just gratitude and grace. And I just my
Mhm.
brain just like made a little glitch, but it's like it glitches whenever I have such like big feelings in my heart
Yeah.
space or my mind, and it's like the mouth just doesn't know how to
Yes.
get it out.
Yeah.
But it just feels so much like such a magnetism of like this circle beaming of us, and we can either like love it and welcome it in and see how it is moving through all of us,
Mhm.
or we can go around with like the war suit and like everything's like rage. And we do have people amongst this earth that do walk like that, and it's just so interesting how like we can also hold space for them too and like for their journey as well, and
Mhm.
just how everything unfolds or falls or regrows on its own time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to reroute from everything that we are feeling, the foundations, and moving through the heart space, what is something that you would like to share to your inner child, you knowing all of the tools and support that you know now? What is like that age or that little Cameron that you would like to provide
Mm.
any means of support, reassurance, or an embrace?
Mm. I really do love this question. Um, I feel that oftentimes before I have, in my tea ceremonies, I have had really powerful visions with a younger version of myself. And it's always like around age 10 ish. Um, and one that stands out to me now, just kind of thinking back, is this, the vision kind of opens and I kind of like see my younger self, and she's like decked out in all of this armor. She's got like from the feet to the legs to like the full chest of armor, full helmet, like double weapons, like just to the teeth. She is armed, and kind of like imagining myself as this younger part of myself, and it's like feeling like life is like everything is so hard. Everything is a war. Everything is fighting, fighting, fighting. Everything is just blood and tears and sweat and effort and like at any moment I could die. At any moment this could be the end. I have to fight. I have to keep going. Like I'm at war. almost like seeing myself like a general, I've done it all years. I've done this. Like me as like a 10-year-old, and yeah, imagining myself as this younger person, and it's like, you know, so hard, so difficult. You're sweating. It's just like this anguish, this hurt, and it's like you're looking out from the helmet, and it's like everything is like the color of blood. Everything is just it's just like war and chaos everywhere. And then it's like zooming back out again, and there's no one there. It's just me swinging my swords and like gritting my teeth and fighting to the death against no one, like against the shadows of my life, essentially. Um, and me as, present me walking closer toward this version of myself, and she's viewing me as a threat. She's viewing me as um something to fight. It's foreign, it's different, and this is like almost like love. Like this is the embodiment of love, like me coming to her, seeing her, fully acknowledging where she is in life and what she is experiencing and her feelings, and letting that just be what it is, letting that be okay. And she's like, like, no, this is scary. I don't trust you. And then like allowing that tension to dissolve, um, and allowing, this younger part of myself and me now to embrace and to come back together. Um, and I think so much of that fight for me feels reminiscent of loneliness or abandonment, of like, I don't have anyone. Like, I can't trust anyone. No one's going to come save me. I'm alone out here. Like, I'm in this whole war. I'm fighting, and I have no soldiers. I have nothing. Like, all I have is me and like me, the ability to fight, and that's all that I have. And so it's like, if I could tell her anything, which I do, I come back to this part of myself, this age, often, and I always say like, you are not alone. You were never alone. This world has always supported you. That's something that tea has really taught me. Um, Nature has always been here for you. The ground never left from under your feet. The sky never fell from above. Like nature has always been here for you. The world has always been here for you. And now I am here for you. And you don't have to fight. You don't have to keep living like this. Life is not pain. Life is not suffering. Like you can take off your armor, you can put down the sword, you can come out from the cave, however you want to think about it. And you can relax, you can be at peace. And it's always just such a sweet embrace when I meet myself in these moments. It almost feels like I have found someone. I found a piece of myself that was missing in like the vast caverns of my unconscious inner world. And it's almost like I have traveled and I have found her. And now I get to bring her home back into the safety of my heart that is blossoming, that is blooming, that is um, healthy and balanced, that is
Mhm.
not just, a dry wasteland of death and decay, which is often how it feels, when you
Yeah.
start to think that way. Um, I love that question. I really do. Um, yeah, I have a lot of assurance to give my younger self, but yeah, those are the words and the sentiment that I suppose I would give her and often do give her.
Thank you so much for sharing
Mm.
that. I love what I visualize and what I love about like going back into inner child work and providing that almost as if like you're time traveling.
Yeah.
And it's like you're calling all of those little bits of you back because it's not even just that 10-year-old self where it could be like another moment when you're 12 or when you're 4. Like there's so
Mhm.
many times where you can like go back and provide yourself that reassurance or that embrace that you needed when you were experiencing something when there wasn't someone there around to be like your advocate
Mhm.
or your cheerleader. And so you and your future self technically is now being able to go back and like reclaim those parts of you.
Mm.
And I feel like that's also almost like shadow work almost,
Yeah.
because like you know that you have this like real deep warrior fighter in you, but you're able to soften it. So it's like
Mhm.
you have this softness about you, you have this bloom, you have this magic. This is for everyone. But you also have that like fighter, that little, that piece of your fighter in you too. So it's like if there's anything that were to happen, like if this world went to shit, you know that you could like bring out
Mhm.
your warrior within you. Like you still have that. It's a part of you. It's integrated within you, but
Yeah.
it's like met with your like softness,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't have to be like the forefront, this like I'm the front line and
This
you
is all
gotta.
that is. It's actually funny you mentioned that because I don't currently train, but for a while I was doing jujitsu, and it was so fun because I felt lethal. Like I felt like I could really defend myself. I could really mess somebody up if I needed
Mhm.
to.
Yeah.
And it was so empowering because I realized that I really was a fighter. Like
Mhm.
I was pretty good at, like I was pretty naturally good at doing jujitsu. And I had a lot of strength. I had a lot of endurance. I had a lot of the things that, make you a good fighter, make you good at sparring. And I realized when I was training, I was like, wow, like this part of me isn't something to shame. It's just the opposite side of the coin. I have
Mhm.
softness, I have this like grounded energy, and I also have this like spitfire warrior, side of me. And like it's not one or the other. Like I am
Mhm.
both of those things, and I don't have to like pick one and then put away the other and then pick the
Yeah.
other one and then put that one away. It's like you can be fully integrated in both sides, and to understand that I am only soft because I am also sharp. I am only
Mhm.
grounded because I am also wild and
Yeah.
free, you know?
Mhm. That's so. That is so true,
Mm.
and I feel like knowing how to defend yourself allows you to be soft because you're a little bit more like regulated within your nervous system. You have a grander understanding of like how that ego works when it comes to like physical movement or violence. So, and you just really hone in on like knowing like this is only for defense. Like this isn't so that I can rip into someone or
Mhm.
to like show them how strong I am or whatever, or like meet them. And that's really how war is in general. It's like how grander or bigger can I be from you? And that's not really providing any solution in the long run.
Mhm.
um, but knowing that you have that defense is really important.
Mhm.
And so I'm so grateful for our brains and our hearts for like what we soak in, that it's able to be implemented when it needs to be.
Yeah. There's always like reasons why you do the things. Like it's always like you look back and you're like, I understand why I did that or why that was important to me at that certain
Mhm.
time in life.
So, Cameron,
Mhm.
please share with the collective what is our. I started thinking about the sacred cycles, how we didn't do that.
Oh my gosh. What's your sacred cycle?
Okay, we're doing sacred cycles first. Reroute. Oh, look, there's a
A little
snake on the
sneaky.
side.
Oh, me first.
Yes.
Do you want me to shuffle again?
However, whatever the
I might
energy is feeling
I
for
might
you.
just shuffle it a few more times, get my hands in these cards.
That's what I love about just when someone is saying something about cards to me or like is intrigued about cards. And like the
Mm.
more you put your hands on it, the more
Mhm.
your energy is with it.
Uterus.
Oh, and look, it has like that kundalini that
It
like you were
does.
literally doing this a lot of times.
It's my symbol for interconnectedness and weaving.
What's the number?
50.
50?
50, 50, yeah.
Okay. So what I love about this card deck is that it comes with a mantra, a description, and a journal prompt. So the mantra is, I am a powerful source of creation. The chalice of the generative space, the uterus ebbs and flows with the monthly hormonal cycle and holds the potential to cultivate life. It is the incubating container for new creations and is part of the sacred body center for cleansing and releasing. The uterus is part of everyone's origin story. It is the vessel through which we all arrive in the physical realm. Contemplating this dynamic, part of the anatomy is an invitation to explore the role of nurturing in your recent experience. Pay particular attention to the tender parts of yourself that may be newly sprouting. Allow your attention to stay focused on what you are creating, the seeds you are planting. It is space for you to tune out all the other distractions and make this your priority. If there are aspects of your life that you have held on to that now feel limiting, this is your invitation to let them go and create space for the future creations to manifest. The prompt is, where in my life do I crave more nurturing?
I love this. I definitely feel like I'm like
Beautiful.
creating a lot of things in life right now. And that feels very vulnerable and very like scary at times because you're like, I love this thing so much. And like, I just want to see it grow and flourish. So it's like a little bit nerve wracking, but you're also so excited to share it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is very, very resonant today.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. I feel like these cards really like dive deep into your heart space of what you
Yes.
need to hear at that moment.
Yeah.
And I love that it comes with journal prompts so that you can go deeper within. Vaginal canal.
Ooh.
And it has a snake going in a circle.
Oh my god. What is that called? Ouroboros, maybe? I feel like I butchered that for sure.
44.
4. Vaginal canal. I am open. A holy portal, an opening. The vaginal canal is a connection point between the outer world and the inner sanctum of serenity and magic. While often used to describe the whole reproductive space, the true vagina is the tunnel-like portion of the anatomy from the vaginal opening to the cervix. This channel holds the wisdom of the liminal space. It is an in-between, a doorway to step through should you choose to. It's filled with the potential to experience sensations of bliss and usher in new life. You are at the edge of a unique experience. This is an invitation to choose between remaining in a place that is comfortable and familiar to you or entering the portal into the unknown. The recognizable world you have created holds the gift of safety and security. Entering into the darkness opens you to uncertainty, shimmering with endless possibilities. There is no right decision here, only an acknowledgement of what beckons you most at this time, and then wholeheartedly accepting that calling. The journal prompt is, where in my life do I have an opportunity to make a choice between the familiar and the unknown? Wow. Wow. I love that. It's a great deck. I'm loving this deck.
That was really on point. On point. Because there's definitely a decision or like an action, not like the decision's already made, that, but more so like the action to following through it, to definitely ending an old cycle and start like just being free to start the next one.
Yeah.
Well, that's a sign that I need to just get on with it. What am I, twiddling my thumbs?
Seriously.
Yes. Thank you.
Gave you a little rattle.
For this last question, for those that are tuning in, can you please share something that could be a tip or useful source or support for those that are listening in? Either something that you once felt was like a delulu thing, but it was really your intuition, and honoring that and embodying it, or it could be something that you once felt was like shameful, fearful, or judgmental, like on the self. Either you pick that up from those around you or yourself due to inner child experiences, but then you now have like looked at it and like seen the light, shown it love,
Mm.
and have integrated that shadow within?
Mm. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is the silence because it has been the greatest teacher for me. Like I mentioned, when I first got into tea, I wasn't sitting in silence. I was, paying attention to the tea and noticing my body and all these things, but there were still many layers of distraction on top of my practice. And when I started to reorient myself to different ways of serving tea, I then became introduced to sitting in silence. And at first, it was something I was so curious about. I felt really drawn to, but I was like petrified. I was like, I don't want to sit in silence. I don't want to. I don't know. That seems scary. Like there was just something about it that was like, no, thank you, but I'm gonna do it. Now that I have more knowledge of tea is very much like a reflection, a mirror. Silence is very much a reflection in a mirror. And sometimes when that gets like turned back on us, we see kind of like what's within, or like, it's like when you're a kid and you like pick up the rock and you see all the stuff underneath, you're like, ooh, I didn't know that was under
Mhm.
there. Or like, I don't really like that's kind of I didn't really wanna look at that, or that's, like, gross, or you have these projections that you kind of place on yourself of, like, "Oh, like, I do this wrong," or "I'm not good enough here," or whatever. For me, the silence has really allowed me to come into relationship with those parts of myself that I maybe didn't wanna show people or that I felt a little bit ashamed of. A lot of that comes from, just different things that I experienced in my childhood, like, I was homeschooled for large portion of my life and then moved to public school, and there's just like a lot of like friction that happened at that time in my life, just like a lot of notions, a lot of ideas, a lot of stories that you believe. And when you sit in the silence, it's just you and your thoughts, it's just you and your mind, and you start to see where things are gnarled, you start to see where things have festered, where they're stagnant. You also, which I think this is really important to note, you also see where things are just so full of love and so full of joy, and where they're clear and where they're beautiful. And you see that contrast because the silence contains everything within us.
Mhm.
The silence I like to liken sometimes to the void. The void is where we come from and it's where we return. It has the potential and the possibility for everything. So, to round all that up, I would say that silence has been one of my greatest teachers. And to the things that scare you, to the things that are uncomfortable, let them be your guide. Let them show you the direction to go in.
Mm. It's very powerful because the feeling of like, no, I want to hide from my shadows. I don't
Right.
want to look at it. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel any of those things.
Yeah.
But they will come up in different ways, in different experiences and people and work or anything that
Mhm.
makes it louder and louder so that you have to look at it.
Yeah.
So it's like no matter what, you're going to be forced to look at it at some point. It just depends on like when, like being able to feel safe in your own foundation to be able to look at it. And I think that is a huge element that may be missed with certain things of like, yeah, look, think, but it's like, but you also need to feel safe first. Like
Mhm.
you need to tell yourself, like, I'm safe to feel these things. I'm safe to go through this. I'm safe to have these emotions so that you can move through it, so that you can learn from it, or else it's just going to
Mhm.
keep getting louder.
It makes me think of somatic dance, actually, like what we've been talking about with your dance. And you might think like dancing and sitting down for tea, like what the heck do those two things have in common? But I feel as though from how you've talked about your experience with dance and how you view it and your philosophy around it is that it is your place to
Hmm.
experience and understand and unravel your emotions
Yeah.
instead of them coming out in some other way or at some other time. It's like that's your practice of
Hmm.
understanding yourself. And for me, that's silence. For me, that's
Hmm.
that's sitting and allowing all of the distraction to fade away. And they seem so opposite, but they're really so similar. They function very similarly in
Hmm.
the body.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I love this series, is because I get to bring on all these different people that have all these different
Mm,
tools.
yeah.
And that's what I love about it, is because like we we just naturally cannot just like do the same thing over and over and over, because our energies are going to be different or required something different for that experience. And so there are times where like I'd rather be in the bathtub, or I'm sitting in silence with tea,
Mhm.
or I'm hiking, or I'm dancing. Like dancing is like my number one go-to thing, But
Mhm.
depending on my energy levels and the frequency of like what I need to really introspect on, my body may want something different.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that about
Yeah.
yours, because it is extremely powerful. So Kamryn, please share with those that are tuning in how they can connect with you, sit in ceremony with you, and what offerings you have upcoming.
The best way to connect with me is probably on Instagram. Will you put it in like the
Yeah,
show
I'll
notes?
do
Okay,
a
because
link.
it's my name but with an extra Y. So it's Kamryn with 2 Ys, and then Grace is my username. And then from there, you can kind of navigate to my website, which is mojavehausoftea.com. From there, you can kind of see just kind of like what's happening. I'm hosting different retreats, different workshops, just depending on the time of the year, and just kind of like what's feeling alive. I do, like I said, retreats. I do small gatherings, and then one-on-ones, and all of that can be accessed through the website. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay. Can we hug?
Yes. Oh, thank you.
This is Revelations is a Ritual, where embodiment is the oracle. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your body, your breath, and your own inner knowing. If something stirred within you, let it ripple. Let it guide your own ritual of revealing. To honor this co creation, you can like, share, or just sit in with the felt sensations of what's rippling through you. And before you leave, make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't forget to touch that little bell so that you are notified for all of my new videos. I am very grateful that you are here.
Thank you so much for that. I'm like taking off my clothes. I'm like, I'm hot.
I know, it really made me sweat.
That really warmed up my body.
Mm.
I wanted to ask again what type of tea that was.
So that was a choux poire, and choux just means like ripe or cooked. So it is fermented, which kind of gives it that lovely like malty flavor. Yeah, it's a choux poire. Can't remember the mountain that it comes from. I believe it's in 1993. So it's harvested in 1993, and its name is Empty Mirror.
Empty mirror?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. That makes sense. Dang, so much moved through me. Whew. There's so much. So much. But when you asked me like what has been moving through me, and it was all about just how expansive my heart space is yearning to be open, but also there's certain things that like either within connections or friendships that are allowing me to heal more of those wounds, where it's so sensitive in the heart space because it immediately brings tears to my eyes.
Mm.
Yet it's something that it's like my body has been asking for and yearning for, but it just feels so abnormal because I didn't grow up with that. And now being 33, like now I'm experiencing that. So it's still so new to receive it. And the only way my body knows how to respond is to cry.
Yeah.
And so it really went straight to the heart space, this tea, of how, like, really looking at how I have a Venus and Sun in Cancer. And ever since I was a little girl, I like overlooked or just like saw those Disney Channel movies, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to experience like a love like that, or to have like a partner like that. And like I just thought that that was the way that relationships are supposed to be. And then on top of whatever I saw from my parents growing up as well. So it's like a modge podge of that. But then when it really got to the stage where I'm now like at an age where I'm seeking out a partner,
Mm.
even as young as I did, not knowing a single thing, but only being told by my parents no, but like not knowing the why
Mm-hmm.
or more insight so that I can understand. It was just a no. And so that made me want it more. Like, well,
Mm-hmm.
why not? Like, if
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to like be with someone, why are you not letting me
Mm-hmm.
to have those experiences? And so I did it anyways behind their back.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me, thank you. And so aside like I just was like a serial relationship person, so I would go into relationships back to back to back without
Mm.
ever having, like, yes, I might have like a month, like at most a month of time by myself, but I was not in the headspace of like, well, what did I learn from that person and what should I take on or not take on. I was just like, well, you weren't in it, next person, next person.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I separated from my marriage, I was like, wow, I really need to just like learn more. So I just allowed myself to learn or like experience more things, not knowing how much effect my body would have on it.
Mm.
Because I was allowing these people into more of my inner energy. And because I'm so empathetic and like kind of like a sponge almost energetically, that I would then start taking on characteristics of them that I didn't really like in them, or I didn't know that I didn't know that about them until I started doing that and I started paying attention to them and then
Mm.
realized it was actually them that I was just kind of like mirroring. And I don't want that. I don't want to feel that.
Mm.
And so taking this huge lump sum of space, which I don't even know when it will end, but it's now been we're in August, so about 8 or 9 months where I haven't been with anyone
Mm.
and or even try to entertain anything. And that's why I chuckled when Collie was like growling underneath
Mm-hmm.
because it started really remind or like a mirror of like I'm Collie. I'm the
Mm.
one that's like been wounded by relationships and now like
Mm-hmm.
to like everyone like get away. Like, this is my space, my
Mm-hmm.
safety, my peace. And I don't want to be like that either. So
Mm.
how am I healing those wounds so that I can still remain open in my heart space so that when something does come or if that person comes along, if I'm doing some random thing, because I just feel like it's going to be like the most random time. It's not like when I'm like, yeah, I'm here to like wait for my potential mate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's going to happen. And I want to be able to be in that space where I can be open to receiving it and to not have my walls up or my wounds like basically sabotage any
Mm.
relationship that
Mm-hmm.
potentially could happen. And I know that there's a way, or not a way, there's like a time or type of person where you should be still able to share those little things with them, but not to the point where it's harming the relationship.
Right.
And at this point, I've only had relationships romantically that were very like unhealthy,
Mm.
communicatively, and like more like those toxic like red flags and within people where we both were just mirroring that within each other, so we weren't giving any bit of trust to
Mm-hmm.
any of us, and it just kept feeding and feeding. And that's my body's like in such of a rejection state, so that's why I think I'm more like the my cat Collie, like
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I don't know, just everyone's like this. But now that I've really experienced the frequency of like the different connections that I'm around and things like that, I'm like, I feel I need to be more safe within
Mm.
myself. And so a lot of like the little botanicals or like the herb, is it flower? How do I say it? Botanical or
It's a
herb?
tea leaf. Yeah.
Tea leaf.
Yeah.
Okay. The way that it formed at the very end, where it was just water, I saw like 4 sticks, which reminds me of like 1111, or like
Mhm.
also like the 4 of wands, which is just recreating or just a new foundation, basically. It's like
Mm.
what didn't serve is now releasing, is now leaving. And now it's like it's creating that new foundation.
Mm.
And throughout the entirety, like the tea itself, one, I was like so mesmerized by all of the smoke and like the
Uh-huh.
steam. It was just like all of them were like dancing with each other, and I was just like, I
Mm.
feel like I'm in a dream or something. Like it just felt like a dream state type of
Yeah.
vibe. And that's when I started videoing it, because I was like,
Mm.
it was like feeling so magical within my body. And when I was witnessing you pouring the tea and how dark it was, so I could like really see all of like
Mm.
the differences in the steam and the tea. And I know we spoke about how like I saw snake skin at one point,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you said how the reason why. But I started seeing that a lot again today too. But then they would like start going like that ripple, that like
Mhm.
that circular spiral. And it's like that spiraling upwards, and then the way that it drifts, it's like that ripple effect,
Mhm.
and like how everything that's like within starts rippling outwards. And man, whew, so much looking into the heart space. There was a moment where I felt like almost teary eyed, but like my body didn't get to the point where I was crying, but I could
Mm.
just feel the buildup in my eyes. And it was where I felt like my heart, in my heart space, like I visualized my heart space as like a super tight clam. Like it doesn't want to like
Mm.
open up, but it only like opens up a little bit for like certain people because of the wounds.
Mm.
And I just saw like, instead of like, I saw like someone like as if like an oyster shucks, like forcing it to like open. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, like you can't
Mhm.
open me like that. But then all of a sudden I just like moved off the rock and like just allowed myself to sink down into the ocean, and I can see like bubbles coming up, and then all of a sudden I start like opening more and more and more and relaxing
Mm.
until I'm like, okay, now I'm free to I feel confident to be open and like feel safe while being open. But it's
Mm.
not by people or things that's going to force me open. It has to be within, and like my healing first, to
Mhm.
like seep down within.
Mm.
And how that's really allowing me to see things from a different perspective. And if I feel like I'm being rushed by something or someone, that I feel very comfortable or confident in my like my body, like the foundation, that I won't allow someone to, like an external source, to make me feel like I have to be rushed into a situation or a decision,
Mhm.
or that feeling like I think I have that practice of that discernment. So although
Mhm.
it was very wounding of the heart to do that, like serial dating or like wanting to look for whatever in whichever person, it allowed me to learn like the deep discernment like easily
Mhm.
now. And also giving space for gratitude for that, because I needed to go through that to in order
Mhm.
to feel that heart space opening, and just like a deeper discernment in that, and
Mm.
that I'm like sitting with it more and feeling more comfortable with it more, and not overthinking what others' perceptions of me are due to how I'm moving from my heart space.
Mhm.
And that I don't have a control of that, but to always check in with myself first.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think the heat too was like, I feel that a lot when like I feel like I'm being directed into a place that I'm not supposed to be, or that like it's scaring me, and my body starts feeling hot, and it's like that's like my
Mm.
sensation of like, no, no, no. But it's like also afraid of speaking up. So it's just like
Mhm.
bottling up in my body,
Mhm.
instead of just like allowing myself to speak from my voice and my heart space of what I'm feeling, because it's not in alignment. And although I might feel scared, by saying that my truth with that person, that I still have me, like this, the strength within me and my foundation. And that's like my truth is what matters, and not to like people please others, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I might hurt them by saying my truth
Mm-hmm.
and honoring that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm always so amazed at like the insight that comes from tea, or what will spark something. Like it's like, oh, I saw this in the bowl, or oh, the leaves did this, and it just takes you on this whole journey. And it's
Mm-hmm.
always so amazing to me because it's so unique for each person, and it's also so unique to each ceremony, to each tea, to the day, to the hour. Like it's so beautiful and so unique. And it's always just the smallest details, simplest things.
Mm. Thank you so much for holding space and
Yeah.
for providing.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what moved through you in the tea.
Yes. I was really contemplating, like, why empty mirror? Like, what does that mean? And what does that mean to me specifically? Um, and it's part of like a Zen, I guess you could call it like a story, but they talk about how a mirror reflects everything in its environment, but its true nature is always the same. And you can be like an empty mirror. You can like let the world um, kind of come through you and reflect out of you, but you yourself are not the things that you are reflecting. Like when the position changes, you're not trying to hold on to this thing that you were reflecting just a few degrees that way or just a few degrees
Mm-hmm.
this way. It's really allowing yourself to be a vessel for the world and for the divine as well to come through you. Almost like how people say, you want to be a still lake, or you want to be an empty hollow bone. Similar idea, I think. Or at least that's how I've come to. Are you thirsty? That's how I've come to understand it. And there was a part of me that was like, okay, empty mirror, like let's think about it. Let's do something. Let's, and realizing that so much of like what I was trying to do was like an action of like the mind of like let's think our way to peace and tranquility.
Mm.
And how in actuality it's more a sensation, it's a feeling of just like letting go, letting things come and letting them go, and not being attached, and just allowing yourself to surrender to that process. And tea has been such a wonderful medicine and tool for me in that way, because I love to just grip with a death grip
That
to,
Taurus moon.
yes, my Taurus moon, to life and to what I want and to what I am expecting to happen, to a lot of things. And there's a saying that tea is an aimless practice. In order for your tea practice to be good for something, it has to be good for nothing. In the sense that, like, if you sit down and you are like, okay, today I'm gonna work through my childhood trauma. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna think about this. I'm gonna. It really doesn't allow the magic of tea to unfold, because you're kind of putting your own expectation of what's going to happen onto this plant. It's very similar, like psilocybin. If you go into a psilocybin journey and you're like, so I'm going to work on these things, it like rarely happens, right? And that's obviously a much different experience. But yeah, it just makes me think of really allowing the tea to guide you and to show you the way, as opposed to you trying to forge and like almost like what you're saying with the clam, like yank everything open. It's like it will open in its own time. You will take steps forward in your own time. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to like make anything happen or control things. That it will all happen exactly as it should and exactly the way that it's supposed to, and just trusting um, the guidance that you receive, and how so much of that discomfort is from ourselves. It's from how we want things to go,
Mhm.
or how we are our expectations. And when we allow our orientation to the world and to life to shift, then suddenly everything is working in our favor. Everything is going exactly as it should.
Mhm.
We have so many opinions. So when you allow your opinions to not be the center, not be the main driver of life, of your experience, everything just opens and blossoms.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful to have those experiences. Um, and of course, there will always be contrast in life. There will always be the times when we're struggling and like death gripping things.
Yeah.
And that's also life. But
Mhm.
it's so helpful and beautiful to experience the duality through a beautiful practice of tea.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Mm.
I totally resonate of how things can, like, you can have that like expectation, that like that thing that you visualize that you want to achieve in that very
Mm-hmm.
moment. And then if it doesn't be exactly that, how that can be very disheartening and disappointing, and
Mm-hmm.
how that just like dampens the heart space rather than
Mm-hmm.
expansive, and like being open to like what are the possibilities and how's the journey, and like how it's going to move through other people to get to you. And I think that when we have like that really narrow tunnel vision, you tend to miss out on all of the different magic that's happening around, because you're like, no, that's not it, it's this. No, that's
Mm-hmm.
not it, that's this. And I know I ran like that for a long time of my life. And I think it was about 4 years ago at this point where I, every time I went out of the house, I was like, no expectations, no expectations. Shelby, don't do any expectations. Just blank. Just like enjoy what may unfold. And when I started doing that, that's when I started noticing all of the different beautiful pieces that were like kind of aligning with the connections I was making, and then how that trickled like 2 years, 3 years later, like just by like little puzzle pieces and things like that. And there's so much beauty in it, but then there's also like, but like, how do you get there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you just stop doing that? And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
with anything with change, it's like you've experienced that so much and it's like hurt you so much, where you're finally like, I am fucking ready for a change. And then that's when you
Mm-hmm.
really start putting in the dedication and like the redirection and
Mm-hmm.
the reroute, so that like new normal or that new habit or routine or ritual that you may want then becomes more of like a natural state.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a ripple effect in so many other
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm. Makes me think of, can't remember exactly. My fiance, he's always saying like there are no solutions, only trade-offs. It's like thinking about the
Mm,
trade-off of like if you're desiring a change in your life, what is the trade-off? For example, if you want to do a new initiative, or you're excited to launch something, but instead of doing that, you are maybe like on your phone or you're watching TV. The trade-off is giving up the comfort and the I suppose like the distancing that social media or that TV, that those dissociative things allow you, or confront it, to confront your fear. And if it's like if you're not ready to make that trade-off, you won't change,
mhm,
and really getting honest with yourself and being really truthful and be like, do I actually want this? Like, am I actually ready for this? And oftentimes it's like we need some sort of comfort. We need some sort of acknowledgement of a younger part of ourselves or a different part of ourselves that is scared to make those decisions, or scared to reach out, scared to open up, scared to inhabit the heart, doesn't want to be hurt, And it's like once we can kind of strip back the noise that keeps us from connecting to that part of ourselves, we're able to really see like the root of what's happening and what we're experiencing. Which makes me think too of what you were saying about your heart and being a little play of it. And I so resonate with that. Like it's hard when you've been in a relationship or several relationships where you didn't feel seen, you didn't feel supported, you felt like you had to change, and then you go into a new space and you're like, I want to open, I want to do these things, but I don't know how, or I feel uncomfortable, or it feels too vulnerable. It's like either way, it's going to be uncomfortable. Either you are going to minimize yourself and make it, essentially inflict the pain on yourself to live in a way that's not authentic to you, that might be okay to somebody else. It's never going to be perfect. Like, it's never going to be actually what they want. So it's like you're either doing that to yourself, or you learn to be okay with the natural consequences of being yourself to other people. And there will always be like a natural weeding out effect in that. And it's so hard. And sometimes it seems easier to be like, oh, well, I'll just make this person feel comfortable. Like, I'll just do that. I'll just compromise just this one place.
Yeah.
It's never easier. It always just zaps your spirit. And I so resonate with that. That sentiment that you shared. And it can be so difficult sometimes, or it can feel so difficult, but it's like, again, it's our orientation to what's happening. My orientation is that I don't want to be heard. I don't want people to project on me. I don't want to feel this discomfort. And it's like, well, you're going to feel the discomfort. So you get the opportunity to choose and to express yourself in a way that feels true and authentic, and that will also bring in other people who share that same, those same values, as opposed to kind of like making do with relationships that don't feel good.
Yeah, settling.
Settling. Yeah.
And I feel like when you start settling, then kind of energetically, universally, then it's like, oh, well, she's okay with like settling. So we're just kind of going to give more mediocre things, and she's going to settle for them because she's okay with that, or he or they. And it's so interesting how that works, because it's like once you step into the space of like, no, this doesn't feel to my fullest, like receiving, or I see where I'm cutting short in the way that I'm accepting how I'm receiving, or the way that I'm showing up. And then it kind of, it just everything energetically responds in that way. Like, for example, something that happened recently was I was going through a drive-through and I ordered a specific thing, and I was like, had it in my mind. I'm like, oh, it's going to be so delicious on my tongue and all that stuff. And they hand me like this thing, but it's like not exactly the way I ordered it. And I usually order that way, and I'm like, but I really like, I viewed the other one, and I was like, do I want to settle on this? Like, I already visioned that one, and it was like they're bad, so like why would I want to, like, I don't want to be like, because there's the two ways, like, oh, I don't want to like upset them because they got it wrong or whatever, so I'm just gonna accept it. Or it's like, you know what, no, like I really wanted this, so, and it was their mistake, so say something. So I was like, you know what, no, I ordered it like this, can I please have it like that? And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, let me remake it. They're like, you can have that one too if you want, because we're just going to have to throw it away anyways. And then I was like, oh, because I spoke up, I'm now being rewarded. And then it happened again with another drink within that same order. They did it wrong, but they already made like the new one. They're like, I actually made it wrong first time, but do you want? So it was like I was getting rewarded again. I'm like, wow, it's like right then and there. It's like if you just honor your voice, you will be rewarded in some way. It might not be initially, but it will be somewhere because energy moves through so many different people. And I just love the beauty in that and like the gratitude of that because instead of holding on to it, because I've met people where it's like, well, I'm doing this thing that's nice because I know that, karmically it's going to be better. And I just find that so strange to
Mm.
be like, you are purposely moving in a way because you know that this is the good thing, because you know that it's going to somehow. And I feel like sometimes purity wise through the heart space, that seems a little like a trickster type of
Mhm.
thing. And it's like,
It's
but
like,
was
what's
it
the true
really pure?
intention? Like, why are you
Yeah.
actually doing that?
Yeah.
You know? And then that intention, that orientation of the world, so to speak, is like, if you think that you should be doing something, therefore you are doing it, why do you feel like you should be doing it? Are
Mhm.
you moving from fear? Are you moving from shame? Like,
Mhm.
I feel like anytime should comes into the question, like, I always like to say, like, don't should yourself. Like, don't that it's just like such an odd word in our vocabulary
Mhm.
of like, what do you mean should? What does that
Yeah.
actually mean to you? Because I don't
Mhm.
think I've ever experienced a should that was positive.
Mhm.
So when you're
Yeah.
saying like, oh, I should do this because it will, benefit me in the long run, it's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
really ask yourself
Yeah.
why? Why am I doing that? And I mean, anybody could ask that for any sort of experience that they're having in life. If you feel like you should do something, like really
Mhm.
digging deep and be like, why do I feel that I should do
Mhm.
this? Do I want that? Do I
Yeah.
actually want that?
Yeah. I've noticed with it's been so long since I've ever felt anything that's like I should do this or I should do that.
Mhm.
But when I was in that space, it was because of like, oh, people pleasing or
Mhm.
shame or embarrassment, or I thought it was fear or whatever it may be. And instead, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to move in this way because that's how I'm supposed to be. And it was always because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. And and then that in over time you realize like you're abandoning yourself because you aren't really moving from your own heart space and your own like magnetism.
Mhm.
You're still like in this like lower vibrational state of like, well, I'm just gonna kind of like I don't know why I just saw like Pac-Man in my my head. I was like, I'm just gonna move this way. I'm just gonna slide by.
Mhm.
Don't eat me. I don't know where that came from.
The visions, the tea visions.
But ah, man, whew, the tea is hot today.
Fans yourself.
You want it? You want a fan? I know
It's heating
you're
up in
you're
here.
heated up too.
I am. It's crazy in here.
It really is. Okay, so kind of going back to like going to your inner child, like the
Mm.
shoulds or the expectations or like the things that we just like pile on each other until we take the moment to like really look into ourselves. Whoa, my voice. um, what you now, like you in your present state
Mhm.
and all the tools and support that you know now, is there something like any age of your inner child that you would like to go back and provide any reassurance or validation, or even if it's just like an embrace? What would you
Mhm.
share with that inner child of yourself?
Mm. I love this question. And also, I not very frequently, but I will often have uh, visions when I sit for tea by myself. I'll often have visions where I encounter myself as a young girl, and it's always like the same age range. Like it's always like 7 7 to 10-ish. And she needs so much reassurance. She needs so much strength. At some point in my life, I decided I was going to war and I needed to wear all the armor, needed to have all the weapons. Um, Essentially, like, turned myself into a little war general and a fighter. And so often, it's that part of me, it's that age where I feel like I'm just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And I get so tired. And I wrote a journal entry one time that, was, acknowledging and describing this part of myself in this specific vision. And it was, your what would that be like? The metal plate of like your armor, your what's that called?
I don't know,
Head
but I get what you're
headpiece.
saying.
Helmet. That's what I'm looking for. Helmet. Like the metal like covering is over your helmet,
Mhm.
and you're like decked out in your armor, and you have your sword, you have all your things, and your eyes are just like red with you just think there's blood everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And you're just fighting, and you're so tired, and you just keep going, and you have no choice, and it's just this like anguish and this exhaustion. And then it's like you pan out and there's no one there. It's just you swinging at the shadows. And there's a part of it that's funny because you're like, oh my God, like I'm doing this to myself.
Yeah.
And in so many of those experiences, it's just like going up to myself. And a lot of times it's like me like seething with like rage and anger and like bloodlust almost of like I have been so hurt and I just have to fight my way through life. I just have to keep fighting. There's no other option. And going up to myself and just embracing her and hugging her and loving her and exactly as she is, being like, it's okay. I understand why you're doing this. I understand how you've become this way, and I'm here now. I showed up for you, and you don't have to do it. Like you in this moment, in this vision, you don't have to fight anymore. And it's always just such a sweet, sweet embrace. And I guess for more like general of like what I would say to myself, it is that you don't have to fight through life. Life is not full of pain and suffering. And maybe once upon a time it was, but it's not anymore. And here's me now from your future coming to tell you these things, coming to rescue you and bring you back home to the heart, and where you can rest and you can be in peace because you got stuck and you felt alone, but you're not alone anymore. Now you can come home. And so many of my journal entries, my visions are to that specific place and time, which is oddly, or rather not oddly, when I transitioned from being completely homeschooled to going to public school. It was a really hard time in life, like 10-ish. So unsurprisingly, but yes, that age of myself needs a lot of reassurance.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.